Zaxby's, indescribably good.
Good evening, Raider fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Rocky Hidalgo Coaches Show, sponsored by Zaxby's, with two locations in East Cobb, one at Lower Roswell and Johnson's Ferry, and the other one at Shallowford and Johnson's Ferry. Tonight we're going to review the Roswell game from last Friday before we move into an introduction of the Etowah Eagles visiting Raider Valley for, I believe, Coach, the first time maybe in forever. They may have been here a couple of years ago, but first things first, when I looked at the statistics for the Roswell game, and you see Walton with 303 yards of total offense to Roswell's 186. We had basically 9 or 10 minutes of possession. I thought, oh, gee, I can't imagine why we didn't win this game 24-10.
Yeah, first, the kids played really hard.
Very physical game.
It was the most physical game we played in quite a few years here. Roswell came out. They were 0-3. They came out, and they really got after us. Our kids responded. I'm proud of the effort of our kids. They came out, they competed. We put some hats on some people. It was a very physical game. It was a rough game. The biggest thing is, we started practice today with showing them a highlight tape of Friday's games. It's 17 plays where we had mental errors and mistakes that cost us the football game. And so, the thing we're going back to practice this week is we've got to go out and make those plays. We've got to make sure that we're aligned correctly. We've got to catch the ball when it's thrown to us. Balls have to be thrown on time. Players need to know what their responsibility is on defense. We've got to eliminate those mental errors. And that costs us the football game. If we make any 2 or 3 of those things during the course of the game, we win the football game. From one side, it was frustrating to watch us play as hard as we did and waste that effort because of mental mistakes. The other side is, it's good to know that, we've got that in us. And, we talked to the team about making sure we shore those things up, making sure that we eliminate the mental errors. But the flip side is we've got to keep that level of effort, that physicality that we played with, and we've got to compete it, every down like we did in the second half.
The one thing that you come away from the defensive, both sides of the ball really, is that that when this team gets itself, though, in a really tight game and a very physical fight, this team is not going to back down. They're going to be right there. So you kind of put check that box, say, my guys will not be intimidated. No,
and that's one of the things. I actually left feeling really good about the game, despite the fact that we lost because of that. I felt like Roswell really came and got after us in the first half, and our kids responded, and that's the good thing. When I watched the video and saw how many opportunities we missed in the game, it was really frustrating for me, and for our kids as well. Our kids, they're not dummies. They watch the video, they watch themselves, they know how hard they played, and to lose the game because we made mental mistakes, that's tough for them. And we came out, we had a good practice today, and that's the message this week is we want to shore things up, make sure we're aligned on the line of scrimmage when we're supposed to. Make sure we know where we're supposed to go on defense when we've got, whoever we've got out of the backfield, whatever responsibility we're covering. We need to make sure that we're taking that and doing our job, and don't give anybody any cheap ones.
And one of the nice things about playing in a season, Rocky, where there's playoff, you don't have to win with style points. You don't have to impress voters. You enter the region play on Friday. You play Etowah, and you don't want to disregard those first couple of games, but the season really does begin, though, on Friday with, hey, we win our region games, we win the region, we get a good seeding in the playoffs, and we take it every game from there.
Right. Going in, looking at the schedule, we felt we had, if we could come out of the first 4, with 2 or 3 wins, we feel like we were in good shape. We've lost to 2 really good football teams.
Right.
I think, our inexperience showed in the first game of the season. I think we played really hard at times against Roswell on Friday night, but again, we made too many errors to win the game. But I think we've had a lot of growth since game 1. I think our level of play and how hard we play gets better every week. I think we've come a million miles on defense. Mm-hmm. Offensively, we're becoming more consistent, but we've got to eliminate those execution errors that really cost us the game. Now, we talked about with our kids all week long, or this week, about that this is the region championship game on Friday. This is it. And that's not because they're the best team or we're the best team in the region, because whoever wins this game, they're the lead horse in the region race.
Right.
We want to make sure that we come out on top on Friday night. We want to be prepared to play and win this football game. And if we do, we feel like that puts us in the driver's seat as far as the region goes. There's a lot of football still to be played the rest of the season, but we want to make sure that we get out in front here. This is one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the region, and we want to make sure that we come out and play great against them and get a win on Friday night.
A couple of guys came back from injury, which I think was a very positive sign. Orrin Whitaker and Zach Pope both came back. They got a game under their belt before we move into the region play. I mean, how were both of them today when we saw them at practice?
Look, I'm glad to have them back because those are two guys that we don't have to teach them how to play hard, teach them how to play on Friday night. They know how to do it. They're very smart football players. Our football savvy goes up a ton when they're on the game, when they're on the field. It was really good to see them, watch them run around last Friday night. If they played fast, they were physical.
Right.
When we roll out this Friday night against Etowah, both those guys are going to be in the starting lineup. Zach physically has come a long way back from breaking his leg. He's still probably not 100%, but he's close enough that he can get out there and do some things for us. He's dying to get on the field. Orrin is a guy who's been playing for us, who's really been playing for 3 years for us, and he knows what it's all about on Friday night. So having those guys back, and we're giving them some big duty this week with the option. But we're confident that those guys are up to the task.
Well, good. Well, we're going to take a break and hear from our sponsor before we come back and preview the Etowah game, as well as we're going to add a special segment with some of our coaches' picks for Saturday afternoon football.
Zaxby's, indescribably good.
Back here at the Rocky Hidalgo show, sponsored by Zaxby's, as we preview the Etowah Eagles coach. And Etowah is a team that loves to run the football. Looking at their statistics, they average almost 36 points a game, 370 yards per game on total offense, and they run the ball about 3 times to 1 in terms of passing. Defensively, what do you have to do to get ready to slow that down?
Well, a lot of ways they're a lot like us. They're really big up front. They do a great job up front on the offensive line. They're going to get down low. They're going to get behind their pads, and they're going to try to run the football, burn the clock. The quarterback is a very, very good football player. Mm-hmm. He can run the ball, throw the ball, do a lot of things. He's a dangerous guy over there on offense. His ability to throw the football creates some more problems for us. So in a lot of ways, even though they're an option team, they're a little different than us. Right. They want to do the same things we want to do. They want to control the football. They want to throw the short passing game and methodically move the ball down the field and execute their offense. Defensively, we've got to play great up front. We cannot get knocked off the ball. If we get knocked off the ball, we're going to have a tough night. The other thing we've got to do is we've got to play great assignment football. They do a great job running the veer. The quarterback does a great job reading it. So we've got to make sure that we know our assignments. If we've got dive, we've got to get to dive. We've got to pick up the quarterback. Right. And the quarterback does a good job. A lot of option teams struggle with the pitch. They do not. They'll pitch it out on the edge. They've got good backs who can break tackles. And so, we've got to play a great defensive football game on Friday night. Really, it's got to be a disciplined defensive football game. It's going to be physical, another physical there's going to be some collisions in there, and our kids have got to get ready.
I remember asking Coach Dudley 6 or 7 years ago, because guys my age grew up in the veer and option era. And I remember asking Coach Dudley, why doesn't anybody run that anymore? He said, because high school coaches like to keep their jobs. But now, football tends to go in cycles. Coach Johnson brings the option to Georgia Tech, and now 4 Southern Conference schools are running the option again. Is this just one of those things that happens in football? It just goes in cycles?
I think so, and I think we'll see more people run the option. A lot of people run the option. More people run the option right now than they did probably 7 or 8 years ago. Just a lot of people run it out of the spread or out of the gun, which is really a different animal. It's a lot of the same concepts, but when a quarterback does it at 5 yards as opposed to doing it a yard deep, it is very different on how you defend it and what you can do against it. To me, it's one of the toughest things to defend. We play good option teams. Etowah is a very good option team, but a team with some great athletes running the triple option with great athletes. When you look back on the Cherokee teams with Jason Foster and Ashton Foster,
Woodstock teams
used to run the option really well, and they still do a little bit of option. And Etowah is kind of in that line. They're a big physical offensive line. Their quarterback runs it well. He's kind of the playmaker over there for them. It's very tough to defend, and the thing is that they can play 1 week and score 10 points and come back the next week and score 30. It's just how the ball breaks, and those guys kind of seam somebody up and they hit the seam, and they're off to the races. So we've got to make sure that we're in position to make tackles at the line of scrimmage on the second level, and then again at the safety position if something breaks through.
But, Coach, one of the things, I guess, about the option when you see it more than once a season, it's assignment football, as you mentioned. The linebacker's got dive back. Who's got the quarterback, who's got the pitch back. Does it get easier, though, to get the kids focused when you're seeing it 3-4 times a year?
Yeah, to a degree it does. The more option you see, the better you are at defending it. I think it does if we see it 2 or 3 times over the course of a season. And we'll get a little bit of it this week with Etowah. I know we're going to see some a little bit with Woodstock and with Wheeler. There'll be variations on the option. But for the most part, it's the same concept. If your guy blocks down, you've got to squeeze in the hole, and you take either dive or quarterback, depending on what your responsibility is. The biggest thing about the option, it's very tough to simulate in practice.
Right.
We've got Bradley Kilborn, Parker McLeod, and Price Wilson running the option back there. None of those guys are option quarterbacks.
Right.
We put a helmet on Coach Allen today. He ran the veer in high school, and we've got a 40-year-old man running the option back there, and it doesn't look the same as it is when that Nolan kid's going to run on Friday night. That's the toughest thing. So you have to do different things to defend it and to prepare for it. We go without a ball the early part of practice to make sure we've got our assignments taken care of. Then we stick a ball in. And the first time we put a ball in and the pitch is never right and we can't really ride the dive, it's tough. It's tough to practice for.
Coach Allen didn't look like Richard Todd then running the mid-'70s option for Alabama.
He looked like, the
Peyton Manning running the option.
Yeah, that's probably being generous right there. His big concern was getting hit, I think. So he yelled at the kids every time they came within 3 feet of him. Don't hit me.
Smart man. Coach, I'd ask you what you think we're going to do. I mean, defensively, we need to play assignment football. Offensively, I would assume more of the same. Control the line of scrimmage, run your backs, and take what the game gives you.
Yeah, we're going to do what we do on offense.
Yep.
And it really is what takes what the defense gives us. And I think Coach Allen called a great game on Friday night. If you go back and watch the tape, we had guys running wide open on our play action passes, and we missed so many opportunities in the game. We're always going to line up and we're going to run the football. We're going to execute in the running game. We're going to run the zone, counter, and power, and then we're going to play action off that stuff and throw the 3-step passing game. And that's our bread and butter. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to make people come up and defend the run and try to get behind them and get some big shots behind them. And our kids have got to make plays when we get there. We've got to protect, we've got to throw, and we've got to catch. And those are the 3 phases of the passing game. Everybody wants to throw the ball, but you've got to do those 3 things. And we're executing kind of about 60% on some of that stuff.
Right.
We missed some great opportunities on Friday night. Because we had breakdowns in one of those areas or the other. And, that's what it's about. We got to make some plays.
Well, Coach, we'd like to respond to the viewers, the Raider Nation, and their requests. And El Presidente Bob McLeod asked us to take a look at picking some games here. The fans have asked. So, so we're going to take a couple of shots here and see what we can come up with. And we've tried to stay true to some of the kids that play for us and or played for Walton and now playing out there. But first game on the ledger here, Rocky, is 3-0 NC State. John Tenuta back on the defense there, coming into 2-1 Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech coming off of a nice 6-point victory at Chapel Hill.
Yeah, that's good. Coach O'Brien at NC State, he's got a great staff. I think they're one of the top staffs in the country. They did a great job at Boston College, and he's in his 3rd year. He had a ton of injuries last year. I think you're going to see a lot of improvements really over there at NC State this year. I think they're really going to take off over the next few years. Tech's struggling on defense. I got to go with NC State right there. No offense to Coach Johnson and the Yellow Jackets, but they're young on defense. Till they get a little better, I'm gonna pick the Wolfpack.
I think I'm going to go with that too. I think that the return of Coach John to Georgia Tech will be a little bit of motivation for him on the defensive side of things. And NC State did look good against Cincinnati, so I'll take them in a close one. Next one I picked was Wake Forest and Florida State. And the only reason I picked it is Wake Forest got drilled by Stanford, who's one of the leading defenses. Florida State beat a BYU team that seems to have decided to go independent and then quit playing football at the same time. But neither of these teams are what you would call well-developed teams at the moment. They're playing at Tallahassee. Wake Forest has had some success down there, but I would think that the Seminoles probably dominate this game in the second half. Yeah,
Wake is Coach Grove. They've got a great staff there. They do a great job there, getting a lot of limited talent there. I think going down to Florida State, playing in Tallahassee in the heat, Both teams are kind of, they're struggling a little bit. Wake's struggling a little bit. You always go with players in a game like that. I think Florida State's got more players, so I'd take the Noles.
And Wake played that late game on Saturday, had to come all the way back across the country, and Oliver Luck and Chase, our boy Chase Thomas, they're playing good football
Chase
out there.
was
Not
very
Oliver
impressive.
Luck, Andrew Luck. Oliver was his dad, played at West Virginia. Bulldogs versus Bulldogs.
I think Georgia gets back in the win column this week. Saves Mark Richt's job over there. Just kind of kidding all the Bulldog fans. I don't want to get any hate mail from the Bulldog fans. I think Mississippi State's struggling on offense, and Georgia's got their backs to the wall. I think they'll get a win this week.
I think you're right. I thought that the fourth quarter, despite the fact they were down 24-10, they responded. They almost got a miracle play on the last play of the game. And Ryan Mallett is a guy you're going to see winning games on Sundays, I suspect. The big one, Alabama at Arkansas.
I don't think anybody's beating Alabama. I think they could probably beat 4 or 5 NFL teams. I love to watch those guys play. Grew up an LSU fan, hating the Tide, but I'm going to tell you, I love to watch them play. They've got great players. They're well coached. They play super hard. I think for Ryan Mallett, he's in for a long day. I think they'll score some points, but Alabama's too good on offense, too good on defense. Roll Tide.
Yeah, I saw that the early line, not that we talked about betting lines here, was 7 points Alabama, which I thought, wow, I suspect that might get a little bit bigger as the week goes on. Falcons travel to New Orleans to play the Saints. I guess we kind of have to wait a little bit to see what happens tonight with the Saints and the 49ers, but we'll pick 2 Saints games, Saints 49ers and Saints Falcons.
As a grown-up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who dat? I'll pick the Saints in both of them and feel good if they beat the Falcons, because I'm a hardcore Saints fan, which means I despise the Atlanta Falcons as my lifelong rival there of 37 years.
I think the Saints are going to win. I suspect it's going to be a very close game, though. I really think this game's going to come down to how well Matt Ryan plays. I mean, you know that the Falcons are going to try to control the ball on the ground. You know exactly what the Saints are going to do. But last year when they played them in the Dome, 2 Ryan interceptions kind of just caused the momentum to change a bit. But I think the Saints, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons are right there at the end. Well, folks, that's about as good as it gets from 2 guys sitting in a hot press box on a Monday night, one of whom's on vacation. But we appreciate you tuning in. And if you have a chance to watch some of those Raiders that do play on Saturdays, don't forget to wish them well on Facebook or something like that. I know they appreciate that the Raider Nation is always watching them. But until next time, don't forget, Eagles come to town, 7:30 on Friday night. This has been another edition of the Rocky Hidalgo Show.